Hi guys, so welcome to my YouTube channel, Introduction to Python Data Science with Pablo. And today we are going to be talking about global and local variables in Python. Now, I find learners having challenges, asking what does it even mean for what does it mean, global and local variables? So today we're going to first off look at the intuition. We're going to look at intuitions. We're going to have, and then we're also going to write sample codes. Write sample codes to explain these intuitions. Now, the first thing we want to talk about is I want you to, in terms of intuitions, I want you to think of global variables in Python as public whiteboards. So, global variables as public whiteboards. So what this means for public whiteboards is that it's accessible to everyone. It's accessible to the public. Then local variables as your private sticky notes, right? So local as private sticky notes, right? So it's personal and it's only visible to the person that has it. Now, how does this even come in when it comes to Python and writing maybe functions, for instance? Now we're going to look at the rules, like the key rules when it comes to building the key rules to local and global variables. So I'm going to call this key rules. Now we're going to have this before we eventually write code, so it's ideal that we understand all this. Now, one of the first rules is that a local variable only exists while the function runs, right? Especially in a Python function, because it's almost always used in a Python function. So here in a Python function, local variables only exists while the function runs. So that's one. Now, the next rule is that when we talk about a global variable, they persist and they can be accessed and modified by any function, right? So that means in a function, right, global variables persists. Yeah, they persist and can be accessed and modified by any function. So this second rule, right? Now the final rule is if a variable is assigned inside a function, it's local by default. So again, if a variable is assigned inside a function, well, what is that? That is a local variable by default. So this is where our rules and our intuition come into perspective. Now, all this wouldn't make sense if we don't write code for it. Now, the first I'm going to do is I'm going to create a function, right? Now, before I do that, I'm going to write this. Say I write company, right? And inside this company, I write this as Google. Now, this, my friends, is a global variable, right? Now, I go on to create a simple function I call greet, it has no parameter, right? And it has no parameter. Now I want us to look at this. Now this, what I'm trying to explain here in this first video, is a global variable that is accessible everywhere. So that's what this is. A global variable accessed anywhere. So it's important that we put this into perspective. Right, so I create this. Now check out what happens. Now I'm going to say print, right, and I write welcome to, and then I now write company. Now you can see that I am using this. This is a global variable, and I'm bringing it right here. So I close this. Now this can be accessed anywhere, right? Because this is a clear indication that this company, right, this can be accessed, because I am trying inside of the variable, inside of the function, I am trying to access this guy. See that? But one thing is interesting is it's not created inside of a variable, right? So that's why it's easily accessed. So it can be accessed anywhere. Now I run this. So that means if I'm here and I say greet, it says welcome to Google. See how that works? So now this is our first indication, is our first illustration of a global variable accessed anywhere. Now, in the next part of what we're going to be looking at, we're going to be looking at a local variable, right? And we're going to talk about the difference between the ability to be accessed anywhere and the ability to have a local variable that is only accessed within a function, right? So take your time, check this out. So we're going to just have this little series just to explain global and local variables in Python, especially in Python functions.